I'm going to say this 3 times today, because if there's one thing that I want you to remember from everything that I share, it's this. It's your energy, your power, your life. And what you choose to do with it is up to you and only you. You can pour it into whatever your heart desires, or give it away in exchange for a paycheck and security, or hold it inside of you until the day you die. But it's your energy, your power, your life. And one day, it will be gone. Now, with that in mind, I invite you to tap into that itty-bitty part of you that's still childlike. Why, you might ask? I've learned a lot along my journey so far, but a common and a vibrant thread that I've discovered throughout working with children on the autism spectrum, teaching English as a second language while living in Taiwan, backpacking through Southeast Asia, diving into creativity through my illustrations, and engaging with fellow humans while working at a local grocery store, and being the proud uncle of 10 nieces and nephews. It's this. There's tremendous power in being playful and present and imaginative. It's within this childlike state of openness that all the energy that exists in us and around us is awakened and is capable of being used. I mean, aside from maybe a puppy, have you ever seen anything with more unbridled energy than a small child? So yeah, if that sounds like something you'd like to tap into, I invite you to flip on that sense of wonder and openness and imagination. What if we were all just big batteries? Imagine right now humming quietly inside your torso is a huge rechargeable battery, and hovering around you at all times is a little percent charge meter, just like the one on your phone. Shooting out from your body and your head and your heart are buzzing strands of energy. Just picture one of those plasma balls at a kid's museum, except that it's you at the center, and the glass that's separating you from the rest of the world is gone. Let's call these strands of energy cords. And it's through these cords that energy moves back and forth between you and the things that you're connected to. Right now, at least I hope, there's a big, buzzing, electric blue band of energy running between you guys sitting there wrapped in attention and me up here on stage. But take a moment and imagine all the little strands of energy that are going elsewhere in your life. Do you have a text message that you're dying to answer, or an email that you need to respond to? Maybe you need to get groceries after this, or pay a bill that's like a week late. Or maybe there's a daydream glowing with the potential of a new love interest or a creative endeavor. Or maybe you can't stop thinking about changing majors again, or leaving your job, or leaving your partner, or your town, or your country. Take a moment and see where your energy goes. Now, whatever's crackling with your attention, draw that energy, draw those cords back into yourself, into this moment. And listen to my words. Rocks, sparks, and monsters. We carry rocks and we collect sparks and we face monsters. And each of these things has a deep impact on how charged our batteries are from moment to moment, from day to day. The rocks that we carry are often unintentionally or unknowingly are things that steal our attention and drain our batteries. They are the things in our lives that we can change, but we don't. They are our stories and our personal narratives, our incomplete chores and our bad habits, our big old expectations and our judgments and our limiting beliefs. Our rocks are the things that keep us from having enough energy to ever really do the things that matter to us, that are important to us. Sparks are the things that light us up. They're the bright spots in our days, the things that charge our batteries. They're the beliefs and the ideas and the practices and the people that lift us up and give us enough energy to move in the directions of the things that are most important to us. Monsters are the challenges that we face in life. They are the most intimidating obstacles that show up, and when they do, they often take everything that we have and leave us totally drained. I want to share how it is that I put down my rocks, and I followed my sparks, and I overcame my monsters. 3 years ago, right around this time of year, I was living in Michigan, near where I grew up. I had spent the year and a half leading up until that time pouring all the energy that I had into realizing this dream of becoming a traveling freelance illustrator and graphic designer, living out of a converted van with my dog and bouncing around the country in search of beauty and adventure. In my heart of hearts, I prayed that sitting shotgun beside me would be the love of my life, grinning in the sunlight, and singing along with me to the radio. Instead, I found myself crashing in the guest bedroom of a generous friend in southeast Michigan. I was sliding deeper and deeper into credit card debt, and the freelance gigs that were trickling in were not paying my bills. The van, bought on a substantial car loan, was sitting out on the street, empty and unconverted. And echoing in my mind constantly was a gentle but firm thank you, but no, from a young woman that my heart had convinced me was the girl of my dreams. I see now that this pain and this disappointment were teachers that had shown up in my life to teach me some really important lessons, as well as to guide me along my path to arrive here today. But at the time, I was really hurt and really confused. You see, I had followed my heart, and I put all my energy into chasing the things that I thought were meant for me. The love and the career and the creativity and the freedom and all these big ideas, and I put all my energy into it, but it had been rushed, and it was unsustainable. And so as my battery drained, these big dreams transformed into big old rocks that came crashing down around me. Now, you may have felt drained like this before in your life, but for those of you who haven't, know this. There's some really ugly things that come crawling out of the darkness when you're in such a low place. Self-loathing, doubt, insecurities, shame, excessive pride, hopelessness. When life is bright and your battery is full, it's easy to fend off these monsters that come at you in life. It becomes much, much harder when your energy is going to the rocks that you're carrying. I mean, just think about what it feels like to have a rock in your shoe. It's hard to do pretty much anything until you've removed that rock from your shoe, because until you do, part of your attention, part of your energy will always go to that discomfort that you're experiencing. 3 years ago, I was carrying countless rocks, and I was surrounded by monsters that were latched onto me and taking my energy at all times. All of my energy was going into these thoughts that I was having of things that were not good in my life, all the things that were lacking, and I didn't know what to do about it. I would remove a rock only to have another monster climb onto my back and another one to sneak a couple more rocks in my shoes as I slept. And so I trudged through my life, exhausted and near empty, with this dread growing that this was just going to get worse and worse and worse. Let me pause for a moment here and remind you of your takeaway. It's your energy, your power, your life, and what you choose to do with it is up to you and only you. You can spend it all focusing on the rocks, the things you don't want and don't have and don't like in your life. Or you can give it away in exchange for things that distract you from your monsters. Or you can spend your whole life thinking about how you want to do things differently, but never taking action. But it's your energy. It's your power. It's your life. And one day it'll be gone. Now, with that in mind, are you carrying around some rocks with you right now? Allow me to paint a picture. Rocks can be anything. It can be something shaking around in your head like the fear of failure, or an imagined argument, or a belief about how you should be, or how another should act. They can be stories that you've been dragging around behind you of pain or anger or injustice or betrayal, or it can be a boulder of heartbreak sitting heavy on your chest, or marbles of anxiety in your stomach, or the weight of responsibilities that you're carrying on your shoulders, or a big old wall of super judgy rocks blocking you from where you want to be. I saw a little bit of nodding there. If you're carrying around at least one rock in your life, raise your hand. All right. So we're in this together. It isn't until you begin to put down your rocks and remove them from your shoes and your heart and your head and your stomach and your shoulders, until you begin to put down your limiting beliefs about what you're capable of and remove your worries and your judgments of yourself and of others. Until those things are gone, you can't really look up and move gracefully in the directions of the things that lift you up. So as you become aware that you're carrying a rock around, practice putting it down. Don't worry, you can always pick it back up, believe me. But practice putting it down. Some rocks for me lately have been that this talk is foolish, or not worth sharing, or that I would stumble in my delivery. But these ideas are not worth my energy. And so when they come up, I set them down, and I start moving in the direction of that which gives me energy. Sparks. The first spark that I truly recognized in my life was my dog, Jack. It was that winter 3 years ago, and I was laying on the couch in my friend's home, surrounded by some of the nastiest, most hideous and threatening monsters that I had met. I was in the darkest, deadest time that I had ever been in my life. And he pressed his cold, curious little nose into my face, and he told me, "You better not leave me, Dad. We got a lot more adventures to take. A lot more trails to run, a lot more bushes to sniff, a lot more chicken to eat." My little floating charge meter was blinking red, and somehow Jack sensed it, and he came and he stood beside me, and he gave me that shot of life, that spark that I needed so badly just to get up and keep moving. I dragged myself up off that couch, and we went for a walk in the cold Michigan air. And a month later, 2 friends came up from a visit from North Carolina to Michigan, and they offered for me to stay with them for a month while I figured stuff out. It was a little bright spark, and I shot my cords out to it and allowed the energy from it to fill my battery just enough that I could turn around and pour it back into making that move south a reality. It was something, and I followed it. And as I followed it, more sparks began to show up. They were few and far between, but I took anything that I could get. An idea for some artwork, an unexpected message from a loved one, the way the sun cut through the window and lit up a room. But those are my sparks. What is a spark for you right now? What is something that just thinking about it brings a smile to your lips or gives you a little tingling sensation in your body? If you allow them to, these things can get you through the toughest moments of your day. But with practice, they can fill you to the brim. I followed my sparks, and they brought me to a little mountain town called Asheville, North Carolina. They led me to finding a job at a local grocery store. They gave me the stability I so desperately needed. But more importantly, they led me to a group of people that were weird. That were weird and loving and supportive and playful. They gave me the unconditional acceptance that I so desperately needed. It took a while, but I learned how to consistently recharge my batteries. I experimented with plugging into some things in my life and unplugging from others. I tried out different combinations to see which ones felt best for me. I meditated. I ate differently. I drank more water. I went to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and yoga, and I practiced delivering really gentle but firm no's. But those are my combinations. Discover your own. Be playful and curious. See what works for you. See what feels the best for you. And as I practiced setting down my rocks and following my sparks and finding my combinations, I had enough energy to turn around and finally face the monsters that I had been avoiding for so long. I filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and had my credit card debt wiped away. I watched as a very large repossessions officer named Jimbo climbed into my van and drove it away and out of my life. I stopped numbing myself with alcohol and other substances. And I joined a men's support group where I came to face some of my oldest and nastiest monsters, and where I return regularly to practice being authentic with myself and with others. With fewer monsters to face in my life, I have more time and more energy to go looking for sparks. These days I see them everywhere. This crowd is a sea of sparks. And just so you know, it's not about being fully charged. Understand that energy comes and it goes. We fill up and we pour ourselves out. And the rocks will return, as will the monsters. Often, they'll be there waiting for you in the morning when you wake up. But you can ask for help. This took me a long time to figure out, but once I did, and I saw how eager people were to give me a hand, life became so much easier. So, as you practice setting down your rocks and following your sparks and finding your combinations and allowing your energy to return, you can begin to face your monsters on your terms. And in this way, you can begin to change your life. One rock at a time, 1% charge at a time, one spark at a time. After all, it's your energy, your power, your life, and what you choose to do with it is up to you and only you. You can pour it into whatever your heart desires or give it away in the name of something way, way bigger than you. Or you can hold it inside of you until the moment you're ready to share it with the world. This is your energy. This is your power. This is your life. And one day, it's going to be gone. This is kind of a long-term vision that I've got for my life. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more hair. And be a little less orange. What about you? Just imagine the waves upon waves of goodness that we could send into the world if each of us was just a little more charged every day. Thank you.